Welcome everybody. Mark here from Mark's Travel Time. And today's video is going to be a follow-up. What I'm going to do is adjust my camera just a little bit. There we go. I like to be centered right here in the blue because I just think that it is, visually pleasing. I mean, with this mug, you can only be so visually pleasing, but I do the best I can. Welcome, Lisa. How are you? You're just in time to share some iced tea with me. What's going on? Well, I promised that I was going to share the outcome, that I was going to contact the state of Wisconsin after I got that questionnaire. And unlike some Ubertubers who say they are going to contact and meet with people in power and fail to actually do so, I follow through. Hey, Rusty. So, that's where we're going to start today. And to kind of bring everyone up to date, Las Vegas. Oh, Las Vegas, where we had a little bit of news. Yeah, speaking of news, I guess I want to start. We did have a terrible tragedy here in Milwaukee today, and perhaps you've already heard of it, but there was a mass shooting at the Miller Brewery here in Milwaukee. Some people are reporting it as the Molson Coors Brewery, but it really is the Miller Brewery. And 7 people were unfortunately killed, and it's very tragic. And my, I know there was a lot of, they were shutting things down at the time, and a lot of traffic backups and different things were happening here in Milwaukee as they were trying to figure out exactly what was going on. But that's all minimal compared to the very tragic loss of life. So I just want to start by saying my heart and my prayer go out to the victims and the victims' families. And, it's so senseless when things like this happen. And when it hits so close to home, you hear about the stuff on the news all the time. And unfortunately, we have had our share of tragedies of this sort in Milwaukee. This is the third one that I can remember. Yes, Rusty was a former employee. From what I understand, I don't want to talk too much about it because it is rather depressing, but I think it's hard not to acknowledge that. So, as I said, I just want to say my prayers, my best wishes as whatever can be positive in this. I do want to express that to the families of the people. Well, at least I think that the gunman was killed. So with that, we're going to move on with our video. And what I did is I promised that I was going to follow up with the state of Wisconsin. So a couple of days ago, I got a questionnaire from the state of Wisconsin. And the questionnaire was about Uber. Now, I can't read it because I already mailed it back into the state. But essentially, it said that Razor LLC and Uber Technologies, they had a audit by the state of Wisconsin, and they were checking to see if drivers were really drivers or were they independent contractors. So the first thing I'm going to do is implore my drivers that are watching this from Wisconsin to fill out the questionnaire. The only way that our voice can be heard is if we follow through and fill out that questionnaire for the state of Wisconsin. Now, the other thing that we have to address, you sat down with me, and if you didn't watch that video, you can go back, it's still up. But a lot of you sat down with me, and we went through that entire questionnaire, and it was 4 pages long. And a lot of things didn't really make a lot of sense. And it seemed like they said, do you have a private business? And it didn't really say related to rideshare, but I thought it meant related to rideshare. And it said, how do you advertise? And do you keep an office? And yada, yada, yada. And some of the follow-up questions seem to be independent questions, but then again, we're wondering, well, wait a minute, is this an offshoot of the first question? And it was just confusing. And a lot of you were in here and you were kind of jumping in with me and saying, no, I think it means this and I think it means that. I think it means this and I think it means that and I think it means everything under the sun. So anyways, I thought I would get to the root of it and I would call the state. I know you don't have to hear me sing anymore. My voice isn't doing really well today, so I have to have frequent lubrication with my iced tea. So that's what I did. I called the state of Wisconsin and I got hold of someone, and she did call me back. And the first thing she said, well, she said a couple of things that were interesting. Number one, she disavowed writing that survey. I think she recognized when she got on the phone with me, yeah, that's not real clear. She said, I understand that, go, Donnie, go. I understand that that the questionnaire was put out for general purposes. It really wasn't tailored to rideshare. And she said, I get it. I understand that it doesn't really seem to fit. So I said, well, here's a couple questions I had. The upshot was, she said, all we're trying to do is determine whether you should be categorized as an independent contractor or as an employee. And she said it was specific to Wisconsin only, yes. And she said, we want to see if we should be collecting money from Uber. So that's what it boiled down to. She said, you're not going to see anything in the paper about this. So we had a little sidebar conversation about AB5. And she said, no, this is not going to be something we're going to publicize. We're not going to be promoting this. We just want to find out if the company owes the state money. So I said, well, I'm going to answer the questions as best I can. Hey, Trickster. Good, we got it. We got 3 mods in the room now. I said, I'm going to answer it the best I can and just let you guys, figure it out and weed through it. And she said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. She was very pleased I called. She did say, when we send out questionnaires like that, we get very few back. So again, I'm going to implore the drivers in the state of Wisconsin that might be watching this either now or later, fill out the questionnaire. It's the only way that your voice is going to be heard. Now, the next thing I want to talk to is, I just thought this was a couple of interesting stories. By the way, I have 2 more stories that I'm going to be doing. This has just been a busy day. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to be uploading another kind of fascinating story about an Uber scam that occurred in the state of Florida. And this was a clever one. And, the thing is, Trickster, how can you be fashionably late when you were really not notified about this live stream? The only notice that I sent out was through Twitter, and that was probably about 10 minutes ago. Trickster, you do follow my Twitter feeds, right? All right, where's my noisemaker? I don't know where it is now. Oh well. I guess we'll have to do without the noisemaker today. I really don't know where it is. I should just keep it right here in my drawer. That way I'll always know where it is. So, and that address is AverageMe100. Mark at AverageMe100. That's how you'll find me. So I have a couple of formal videos coming out. And the first one today was flagged by YouTube as being inappropriate. I'm learning that anytime you put the word arrested in a title, that you're going to be flagged. The last 2 times I put something about being arrested, even though it's not inappropriate, I don't have vulgar content. I report things that might be unsavory, but it certainly isn't content that should get my videos flagged. And yet they do. Good evening, James. So here is an interesting story. If you invested $500 in Uber's IPO, how much money would you have today? Anyone want to guess? Let's see if you didn't read the Twitter terms of service, huh? So my Twitter is averageme100, Mark at averageme100. So come on, answer this. We got 13 people in the room. If you invested 500 bucks, how much do you think that money would be worth today when Uber rolled out? I don't have the latest stock report for today, but I know they took a little bit of a dive because the stock market dropped a little bit, $15. Come on, Lisa. If you put in 500, you think it'd be worth $15? That's a good guess. Actually, it's not as bad as you think. Uber's been a wild ride since its IPO, peaking above $46 per share on June 28th and plunging to a low of around $26 on November 14th. I was an eyelash away from buying Uber on November 14th. I don't know if it was that exact date. When it dropped down in the mid-20s, I thought, put some money into this just to see where it goes. I didn't have enough trust in them. Is it 34.09 today, Lisa? Thank you. So it says here, it closed at 38.31 on February 24th, which is 2 days ago. So this might be a couple days old. So it says here, if you invested $500, that it would be worth 461 bucks. So not quite a hit that you would take. Yeah, if you bought at 29 bucks, really? Oh boy, that's not bad. That was a good decision. So that's it. I did contact the state. I followed up, and essentially they're not out to get us. That's what they say. I'm from the state, and I'm here to help you. No, I just want to get money from Uber, right? So it was very smart of you, Lisa. So the other thing that I thought was interesting here, here's the headline on this one. Uber and Lyft generate 70% more pollution than the trips they displace, according to a study. How can that possibly be? Come on. That's what it says. Union of Concerned Scientists recommends more electric cars and pool trips. Here's a problem with electric cars. All right. Did I miss something? So here's the problem with electric cars. If I run out of gas in a gas car, I can call up AAA. They can bring a gallon of gas. I can call up a friend. I can take a gallon of gas and walk, to the gas station and come back. I'm on my way, right? Whoever brings me that gallon of gas, or whether I go get it, I can go to the gas station, fill up instantly. I am back on the road. If I'm in an electric car and that thing runs out of electricity, it's a wait. I have to sit at a charging station and wait. If I am going to take that long marathon trip, you guys know I frequently drive to Florida. I'll be doing that again in about a month. And I do it in two spurts. I go about halfway. Usually I stop somewhere around Tennessee, usually Chattanooga, not always. And it's about 12 and 12 by the time the whole job's done, the whole trip. I would never be able to get 12 hours out of an electric car. So I think that Union of Concerned Scientists, I don't know, science isn't always practical, right? So, well, the trouble with the quick change-out feature is they would have to then make battery packs. I mean, it makes sense. But can you imagine how many battery packs that a gas station or a charging station would have to have on hand? And those things are heavy. They're cells. So they're cellular things. So it's not an easy thing to pull something out and put something back in. Now, one day that may happen, and it probably will happen. Technology always marches forward, right? Will it happen in our lifetime? I'll tell you what, I think that's going to happen before Uber's self-driving cars and flying cars. Remember they said they were going to have flying cars out of DFW by 2021? Then they pushed it back to 2023. How many of you think we're going to be driving or riding in flying cars in 3 years? Show of hands. And I said in my videos that come back then, and I would say either I told you so, or I would be, apologizing, saying, hey, I was wrong. I'm rarely wrong on this channel. There are very few times I have been wrong on here. And, there were the other channels, there's one person in particular that just gets, he disturbs me a little bit because he makes grand statements that says, I'm going to meet with the governor, I'm going to meet with the CEO of Uber, and we're going to change lives, and I'm going to start a new rideshare company. And people give him money, and he's up there like a blustering buffoon. And for some reason, people follow him like the Pied Piper. But nothing he said has come true yet. And if you remember, people were saying on January 1st, the world is going to change because of AB5. What's changed? Nothing's changed. Nothing. I mean, they've made a few policy changes. They went back to what it was like 2 years ago, right? We're not employees in California. So I don't know. I think that time tends to march slowly, not quickly. These changes are small and incremental. So I don't know. I think that trips must be pooled, electric displaced single occupancy car trips. Well, here's the problem with that. The reason that people think that the reason they want to take rideshare is they don't want to be in pooled rides. That's the whole. If I want to be in pool ride, I just take the bus. So I don't know. I think the whole reason that we do this, I just find it hard. I find it hard to believe that there's 70% more pollution. I wonder how that study, how do they determine that? Really, how do they determine that? Because a lot of rideshare vehicles, majority of them are really efficient vehicles, because in order to make money, drivers have to get the vehicles that will get the most bang for their buck, right? That's why we see so many Priuses. And, well, Donnie, come on, common sense? Nobody has that. I don't want to have common sense. I want to drive my car. Donnie made a comment about electric cars. So anyways, I just don't see how this can be real. Lyft says the report is misleading. It makes misleading claims about rideshare, is what they say. I just thought it was interesting. I'm not going to do a whole story on it, but Donnie says that we're 2 decades away from autonomous anything. Autonomy could work almost tomorrow on a limited scale if they did it right. I'll tell you where I've always thought autonomous vehicles would be really, really effective, and I've already kind of alluded to it. If they had the American version of the Autobahn, if when you go to some cities and they have the express lanes, now imagine that you had an express lane and it had barriers, when you see the 4-foot concrete barriers on either side, and that was dedicated exclusively to self-driving autonomous vehicles. Right now, the Toyotas we have can ride in there, right? You put it on cruise control, and the cruise control has the radar sensing mechanism where it never closes in on the car in front of it. It will always pull back. And it has the lines on the side that it can redirect in the lines. You add to that all the things that you've been seeing in these autonomous vehicles with the what do they call it, LiDAR or something like that, all the different systems they have in place. If they had a dedicated lane, and one lane, so you don't have to worry about people crossing lanes, and they have the concrete barriers, I think that it would be ideal. And what a better place than if you want to, see you later, Donnie, than if you want to take a long trip to get in one of those dedicated lanes, and away you go. Everyone's not a moderator, only 3 people. We have 3 people that are mods here today. Lisa, Trickster, and Donnie just left. If David comes, he is a moderator. That's my whole moderation crew. There is one more. I haven't seen her in here since I made my name change. And But other than that, I don't have that many moderators. Remember when Justin had like everybody was a moderator? That was funny. All right. So, what's going on with the coronavirus? I think the coronavirus is overinflated. I think that Crybaby, we talked about that already. Roy, what would you moderate? I've been on your channel. Anything goes. It's like, having a Roman orgy at your channel. What would you possibly moderate if you were a moderator? What we're going to be talking about later on, you can stay on my channel when I'm done here, because I'm going to be uploading something that was about a driver that was scammed out of money. It's Average Me 100 is my Twitter. I don't know if you're pulling my leg, Trickster, or not. It's Trickster. That tells me your name, right? So, thank you. I'm glad you all got a laugh out of that. The next story I'm going to be doing is going in Chicago. Some newspaper people, they did a test, and they started one. I'm going to do a whole story about this, so you don't have to bother looking it up. But they started in one place, and they took 4 different modes of transportation, including a taxi, to see which was most efficient, effective, and cheapest. And it was quite interesting, the results. So I'm going to be reporting on that as well. So just a whole plethora of information out there and stories out there that are going to be of interest to rideshare. So I don't know, maybe, do you think I'll ever get my rideshare viewers back? Uber was one of them. Look at that. No wonder I'm so happy. I've been putting away a lot of tea during this broadcast. You found it. All right. So what else should we talk about right now, peeps? What were the specific reasons you never drove for Lyft? Yes, they were specific reasons. It was all about happenstance. I drove for Uber, and I travel a lot. And I didn't want to do my, I'm reading some other stuff. If you're wondering why I'm hesitating and reading some stuff while I'm talking about the story. The reason I never signed up is I wanted to wait until there was a really good promotion. And most of the promotions said you had to do, a ridiculous amount of rides within like a week. And I knew I would have to just be busting my, in order to get all that in. And I'm not going to sign up to drive when I'm already driving in a very active format with Uber. I didn't see a benefit to switching over until it was really cost effective for me to do so. And Uber kept me very, very busy when I drove. There were times when I had slow days, of course, but it kept pretty busy. So there was really never a really strong incentive for me to switch over. And now, of course, all of the monetary incentives are just, what's a moderator? A moderator? Well, hi, Robin. How are you? I don't think you've ever been in a live stream, have you? I always see your comments, but I don't remember seeing you in a live stream. A moderator is someone that can monitor naughty behavior. When you get the trolls that'll come in and they will just start harassing and, hey, Patty Mac, Chicago. I'll be in Chicago in about 4 days. I'll be spending a few days there. And I'll be doing a great story on Chicago. If I don't get it out tonight, I'll do it tomorrow. Maybe I'll save it for tomorrow morning. So that's what a moderator does. And a moderator is able to mute those folks and give them a timeout and that sort of thing. Have good weather in Chicago? I don't know. We've had good weather the last few days. The snow is melting and settling, and weather's been pretty good. You are not getting moderated for asking about Delta versus United, but this is a rideshare live stream. When I do my air travel live streams, then I will do my air travel. Right now, $25. Well, when I got when I look on my app, I can't do it because I'm broadcasting this right now. I am live streaming this from my phone. But when you look at my phone, it's really funny because it says on there, and in a video that's coming up, I'm going to actually show this. It's so ridiculous. Uber is in a terrible state. That's right. They operate in the state of Illinois, don't they? It says you can now refer a driver and get $10 after they complete 100 rides. And that 100 rides is going to be, in a condensed period of time. $10. Why in the world? For $10, I'd rather sleep in. Why? Why? $10. Remember, it used to be like $300, $400, $500, $600. I just realized. What does that say in the bottom? Legend. Okay. $10. You know what this is? Why it looks so funny? I put it in the dishwasher, and you're not supposed to put it in the dishwasher, and some of the paint came off the bottom of my. This is my teacup. Muppets can't do basic addition and subtraction, so they keep driving for Uber. How are you doing? I just want to say I've been watching you for a while and finding you very informative. I will stop driving. Is it because of my channel? I hope you. And if you do stop driving, keep watching because I have other travel stuff here. I don't think Uber is the biggest scam of the century. I think that falls onto Trip, don't you? Okay, when I joined, I got $1,500. What state are you in? I'm in a state of denial, Mark. 1,500. I think I got $100. But $100 is $100, And now, $10. I mean, $10 is on my end for referring someone. I don't know what you get for being the person who refers, but nevertheless, I can't imagine that it's really worth it, right? I don't know. Uber has to try to find some way. Oh, excuse me. Uber has to find some way to make money. Do you think rideshare will eventually be regulated on a more nuanced level? It's not a Wild West business. Yes and no. I mean, it's moderated state by state. So you've been twice in a live stream? Well, it's good to have you back. It's moderated in a way state by state. They don't want to moderate it too much because one of the stories that I'm going to be talking about soon with Chicago is how, some states just look at this as a cash cow. And, I think that Mayor Lightfoot down there in Chicago ought to read the story of the goose that laid the golden egg. Remember the goose that laid the golden egg? And the guy that owned the goose got greedy and he didn't want to wait every day or every week or how many increments the golden egg was laid. And so he sliced the goose open to get all the golden eggs. What do you think he found in there? It was a goose, So, so I think you got to be careful when you look at Uber and Lyft as your cash cow or your golden goose. Because if you run them out of business, and it's starting to happen, and you'll see that in my upcoming video. I think this one will break tomorrow. For those of you who are reading this later, what's today? Today's Wednesday, right? Isn't that crazy? I can't even keep the schedule. So Thursday morning, maybe I'll save it for Rideshare Friday. I don't know. I'm sorry, Ride Day Friday. I think that's a clever name. It's not. You got to admit, I don't know much, but I come up with really good names. Come on, Ride Day Friday, Uber Tubers, Rideshare Suppressor. You got to give me cred for that, right? So anyway, I think you got to be really careful. Driver for Uber in San Diego here. Certain days they take 15% versus 25%. It's still not enough to finish a degree and get a better. Well, that's what I always think Uber is, though. I think Uber and Lyft they're part-time gigs. They're gigs to get us through hard times. You lose a job. All of that, I believe, is really the best use for Uber. I think trying to make a go at it as a living, you end up doing like that guy in Chicago. And I got to hand it to him. He's a hard worker. But if you're working 12 to 14 hours a day, 6 and 7 days a week, that doesn't leave time for much else. And I've always been a proponent of, all right, Robin, thanks for joining us. Make sure you give a thumbs up before you go. I've always been a proponent of working smart and hard. And when you work too hard, you miss out on life. You know, it's not work, it's work, it's not live to work, it's work to live, right? You want to work enough so you can have, you know, a comfortable lifestyle. Um, I don't need to be rich. I've never aspired to be rich. I want to be comfortable. And right now I'm sitting in a home that is way too big for me. I'd like to get smaller even. Start throwing stuff away. I'm looking in my studio and I have so much stuff here that I just want to get rid of. You want some stuff? Anybody wants stuff? You can have all my stuff. Remember when George Carlin made that, he had that whole routine about a place for my stuff? Too much stuff. So, and the upshot of that is just saying, yeah, Uber's a great part-time gig, but man, if you're doing it at the expense of a lifestyle, what's the point? The other drive in California here, I have 2 cars, one for Uber, I drive part-time, the other for personal use. Yes, for sure, side gig, it's good for extra money. Yeah, I mean, some people make a go of it, and in some places, when people say, "Oh, you're an idiot for driving," no, you're not an idiot for driving for Uber and Lyft. You're not at all. Everyone has to make it work for themselves. Now, if you can do that, you are good. Better ask your better half first. Would that be my left half or my right half? In my case, probably the front half and the back half. And I'm not going to say which of those is my better half. Oh, my goodness. Blue Sky Sea. Hey, I think I know who that is. How you doing? Waited patiently for me to get that review video out. Wow. But it was a good review. I like that dash cam. That was how about your dash cam? I did a good video on that. Payman, good to see you. How you feeling? Are you feeling better? I saw that you said yesterday that you were sick, or no, that was in this morning's premiere video, wasn't it? Yeah, that dash cam is a good dash cam. That Blue Sky Sea, what is it called? A B2W. It was a really nice camera. I think I might still have it here. It was a really, really nice camera, and it looks a little. I think it's pretty compact, but some people say, well, it's a little big. But if you put this behind your mirror, because of the way this projects down, all you really need is that little thing right there sticking below the rearview mirror, and you got it made. So I liked it. Once you figure out how these buttons work, and there's a little button on top too, but it's duplicitous in a way. Once you figure out how that works, it's a nice little camera, and I was really pleased with it. I was pleasantly surprised. So you have the Blue Sky Sea, and you like it better than the Vantrue. All right. The Vantrue's a little smaller though, isn't it? Isn't that what people like about it? That's a little more compact. Personally, the size really matter. Like I said, you can hide that behind your mirror. So, I make an easy living driving Uber, Lyft, Instacart for 8 hours a day. It's your business. Build it. You are exactly right. Did you get the survey from the state of Wisconsin, by the way? Every now and then someone gets the joke. Thanks, Trickster. I got to slide that stuff through. It's more expensive. Well, this one was only $140, and it came with a 32 gig SD card. So, man, you can't hardly go wrong, How can you go wrong for $140? So, where were we now? When I got distracted. Another joke, you're on a roll. That's why there's butter on my pants, because I'm on a roll. All right, invite all the old ones back, which you probably have, or add them to the title if you can. All my exes viewers. All my exes live in Texas. All my exes viewers, 4 months and drop them off. Just go back. X's for humor. Okay. X's for humor. But what if you have 3 of them? I know what 3 X's are for. There's a lightning deal on Amazon. What's a lightning deal? Without hijacking the live stream, what does a lightning deal mean? Does that mean it's short-lived? You didn't get the survey. Well, maybe I was one of the lucky few. Do you think, okay, now people always tell me this. I don't believe a word of it because I don't think I'm high enough profile. But people say to me, well, you got it, Mark, because you are, you have the online presence and, you'll talk about the survey and you'll get more people answering it. I don't believe it because I don't think limited offer, limited quantity. Okay, everybody, well, get on, actually go to my review video and there's a link in there. So from the review video, you can go to the link to make sure that you're ordering that from the right source and get the lightning deal, I suppose. For California, people are telling me to enjoy this part-time gig until we lose flexibility. Really, that would suck. No flexibility equals no way. Sorry I didn't get that. It was an idea to get your viewers back. Yes, it was an idea to get my viewers. I don't know. Quite frankly, I have never worked. I was talking with Justin. Why do I always say that? Dustin. I was on the phone with Dustin, I don't know, about a month ago. It was right about the time it was about a month ago. And, we were talking strategy and he said, I can't believe that you built your channel up without doing all this stuff. And I said, well, Dustin, I don't really care that much. My goal was never to build a channel and make money and all. That was never the position. That's why you don't see all kinds of I have my mug. I do have my mug. But that's about the only thing that I have that's really merchandise. I have my stickers here, but I'd send that to people for free. So it was never my goal to really build the channel. I let it grow organically. It would be nice to have those people back. I got to tell you, it was nice when I'd post something that I'd get thousands of views. Now I get hundreds of views. But that's more of an ego thing than anything else. And, that's one of the 7 deadly sins, isn't it? Pride. So you got to be careful. You got to be really careful. I'm mad at myself. I crashed my dad's car. Oh my goodness. That he left me to take care of the family shortly after he died. I didn't get a chance to build my life with that car. Well, you know what? Almost anything can be rebuilt. Even if they say it's totaled, if it's that important to you, almost anything can be rebuilt. You're still here, and that's the important thing. So I don't have much from my father. I'm not wearing it right now, but oftentimes you will see the ring, that black signet ring. That's one of the few things I have from my father. My father also gave me a rifle, a deer hunting. I haven't hunted a day in my life. And when my father was still alive, he gave me a deer hunting rifle. And it sat in a closet. And finally, I gave it to my brother. My brother, he knows firearms. He's law enforcement. I take it. And I have very little, but that ring does in the winter. In the winter, in the summer when you get fleshy and stuff, and in the winter, my dad had these big old mitts. He was and so the ring's a little bigger, and in the winter it keeps sliding off. So in the winter I don't wear it very often. But that ring is something that came from my father. His mother bought that for him, and then he gave that to me, and it's really the only thing I have. So I know nobody asked about that. I'm sorry when these things go on and on. I know that's not what you come here to hear. So I'd like to see the other apps be able to connect with Wi-Fi. Yeah, you can connect with Wi-Fi with that camera. Personally, I didn't see the point. It worked really well. But what you could do is you could download it, and you could do the instant save and all that. You control it essentially, start it and stop it from recording. I don't know. I think the whole idea is just start that thing and let it loop through and have it going all the time. But yes, you can hook up your smartphone to the camera through the app. My goal was to bring a different perspective using my medical background. I guess people aren't that interested. You told me just the other day you had two people that took you exclusively for the medical trips. I'm talking to Trickster right now. Um, so, what happened to you sending stuff on your trips? I send postcards to people, is what I do. People that are Patreon sponsors get postcards from me. That are $3 Patreon sponsors, they get postcards from all the different places. Most of the time, I want to send them from the place so they get the postmark. But sometimes, I'm just in such a hurry, I will at least buy it there. And then sometimes I'll have to mail it out at a later date. But that's what this is. This right here is a postcard. That's the Texas School Book Depository from Dealey Plaza, which I have been at way too many times in recent. It's like I want to set a record in going to Dealey Plaza. So, what else? Oh, you meant the channel in general. Okay, I'm getting kind of messed up here because there's a side discussion going on here about the dash cam. So, you haven't gotten anything for quite some time. In what regard? You haven't gotten notification from my channel. You haven't gotten things from the state. You haven't gotten rides as they relate to medical. I don't. When you put out a statement like that, it's kind of tough. I can't tell exactly what that comment was in reference to. And by the way, for those of you who are watching this later, we have now reached the point in the program where we're all done with what I was going to formally discuss. And this is just now it's just the give and take, the back and forth with the fun part of having a live stream, right? He was at the JFK assassination. Wow, that is a piece of history. That is something, I mean, it's a tragic thing to experience, but good Lord, yeah, it's okay, Payment. It's fine that you do that. I'm not scolding you or anything. It was just confusing me as I was trying to read through there, that's all. Yeah, I enjoy the trips. I still take the trips. As a matter of fact, right now, the one I'm trying to edit is my Bonnie and Clyde. I was just recently in Dallas, and I visited the grave sites of Bonnie and Clyde, but I want to flesh it out a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do is do some of the narrative here in the studio. And you're okay, Blue Sky. Don't worry about it. I want to do some of it here in the studio. And then I want to, in order to just enrich it a little bit and tell the story of Bonnie and Clyde. It was so interesting going to that gravesite. There were two of them. They weren't buried together because I think I told this my last live stream that Bonnie's mom said he had her for 2 years, and it's my turn to have her now, and they're buried side by side. He said, he had her 2 years, look where that got her, is exactly what she said. So, when you did rideshare, did it drive you mad when passengers would play their music loud? I still do rideshare. I haven't abandoned it. One of my passengers listening to Slayer today, however, was Miles Davis. I don't know, how loud can you play? They just have a cell. Usually people, I have to say no to that. No, I didn't really experience that. Usually if they're going to listen to music, they put in, their earbuds or whatever. And if it's coming out of a phone, the phone speaker, just how loud can you get? So, I mean, when I was a kid, the reason that I have tinnitus right now is probably, that's right, I'm hearing a constant whistling ring in my ear right now, but probably because I played music so crazy loud in my car when I was a kid. Cruising up and down Highway 100 in my 57 Chevy. Yes, I had a 57 Chevy. I also had a 1965 Mustang, and blasting that music, man. Well, Trickster, if you want to try the channel, there is room. The internet is still the Wild West, and it's crazy. I have been going at this for 3 years, and I can barely break. I can't, I've been stuck at 10,000 subscribers for a long time now. There are some people that get that in a month. I mean, you just never know how something's going to break. So if you think you're going to have an idea for a YouTube channel, go for it. Can a tailgater cause an accident in any direction? Because the car I crashed into was tailgating and I couldn't see it. He used maximum force of his brake to stop suddenly after passing. Oh, you know what? They do that a lot in Florida. And I think they do it, they rely on the elderly drivers to not have as good of reflexes, and there's a lot of those in Florida. And they will do that. They will pass you and then slam on those brakes so you rear end them. And then you are at fault for being behind them. You know, because the person that causes the impact is the one that's at fault. So yeah, I have heard of that happening. Um, Crazy loud music. See any cool concerts back in the day? I don't know how old you are, but Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Van Halen, none of those. Um, I was always a person that was way, way, way. Um, I like things that were in days gone by. Um, so I was never like a person that appreciated the contemporary music when it was contemporary. I actually saw Frank Sinatra in concert, believe it or not. God's honest truth. I used to see the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys were way past their prime, but they would come to Milwaukee so often. They played the Wisconsin State Fair and Summerfest every year. They would come to those two events. So I would see the Beach Boys a lot. I loved the Beach Boys. Um, I was when I was a kid, I worked security at County Stadium, which is the old Milwaukee County Stadium, and I saw a lot of concerts there. I saw the Commodores. Anyone remember the Commodores? Lionel Richie and the Commodores at the Cool Jazz Festival. I saw, I don't know, I saw Heart. I saw Journey. I saw Cheap Trick. I saw, gosh, I saw Ricky Nelson before he died. And speaking of really oldies, I saw what's his name? Oh come on, the guy from the Beach Party movies with Annette. Um, Help me out here. I saw him in concert. I saw Tony Bennett in concert. So you know, I've seen all the really really old timers when they were past their prime, but they were still playing good music, and it's just the music that I really liked. So yeah, that was it. No, I didn't see Glenn Miller. What kind of question is that? Glenn Miller died in World War II. I was barely in my 30s. Um, so, Frankie Avalon. There you go. Thank you, Payman. Frankie Avalon. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I've seen my share of concerts. Jimmy Buffett. I've seen my share of concerts, but I don't know. It was all stuff that you would think a geezer would watch, right? Glenn Miller, Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald, real music. Well, hey, I got to tell you, I like their music though. Glenn Miller, Take the A Train. Has anyone ever listened to the full Glenn Miller Take the A Train? It is absolutely groundbreaking. He involved every single instrument in the orchestra to be featured, and it all was kind of simulating telling the story of this train ride from whistles to the engine starting up. Take the A Train is a fascinating. Or is it? No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Chattanooga Choo Choo. Chattanooga Choo Choo. Forgive me. Just a fascinating piece of music. Um, but you know, hey, you know, if it's not modern, 99% of the people won't listen to it. And I've never been of that mindset. I've been completely the opposite. I was always, even when I was like in college, I was just completely out of sync with what was popular music back then. Back then, I think it was Rudy Valley. He used to sing in a megaphone. That's what was popular when I was in college. Yeah, pardon me, boy. Is that the Chattanooga Choo Choo? Yeah, man. I stopped driving for Uber late in the night because of potential puke fest factor. However, drunks tend to tip more than the morning going to work people. That is true. I changed my address on the Patreon app back in December so you would have the new address to send cars from your trips. Have you not been getting, is that what you're telling me? You have not been getting your cards? Because I've been sending them out on a monthly basis. Drop me an email and I'll make sure I'm sending it to the right address then. Send it to uberhints@gmail.com. uberhints@gmail.com, because I've been sending them. Lisa, you're getting them, right? Last one you got was Route 66 about a week and a half ago. You know what's loud? Years ago, my uncle took me to first concert Metallica. Yeah, I would imagine Metallica would be loud. Uh, well, you talk about those old bands. I mentioned Cheap Trick earlier, and you should be getting them. I apologize. I will send you. If you want, I will send you an envelope full of all the cards you missed, because I've been sending them out, and because I know you're on the list. So send it to me. Send me your address, and I'll get that updated. But I mentioned Cheap Trick. A lot of you don't remember Cheap Trick. They were really huge in the 70s and 80s. Your mama's all right, your daddy's all right. They had a lot of hits. And Cheap Trick was a local band in Rockford. And they never moved out. Surrender was another one. They never moved out of Rockford. The funny thing, they were world famous. They still just stayed and lived, modest lives. When they were off the road, they weren't rock and roll guys. It was like a job to them. And I remember I used to see Rick Nielsen's kid. Rick Nielsen, it was a goofy looking one, played the lead guitar. And I used to see his kid and his mom, the kid with grandma, in some novelty stores and stuff around Rockford. Sometimes they had a magic store there. I used to stop in it, and they would be in there all the time. I just thought that was kind of funny. But that's neither here nor there. So yeah, I apologize for not getting that out, because I do. You've been getting the live streams, right? I mean, I did two. Well, of course, you'd have to. The only way you'd know that is if you went onto to your Patreon page. But I did two dedicated videos, not live stream, but videos for the Patreon sponsors this month, and I'm going to try to get at least one a month, probably two a month moving forward. All right, I'm okay with the name of a song. Unfortunately, I remember. Well, Lisa, there's nothing wrong with that. Those are the days. I mean, that was some good music. That was some good music. So, all right, what else is going on in the world of? Now that we lost everybody, now that the people out of here are really the hardcore, right? 6 a.m. in California, getting ready to hit the road. All right, go out and make some happy dollars. Thanks for joining us and supporting the channel at a time when we really need it. So, what else? I'm out of tea. And, all right, thanks. I will make sure that it's the address I have. That means your kids are old. How many kids do you have, Lisa, if you don't mind sharing? Your kids are old. You're not old. Your kids are old. I got that. Yep. So that happens. Kids get old and we stay the same age. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing how that happens? Lisa can handle it from here. All right. So Lisa's gonna be in, huh? 2. I only got 1 and she's gone. I took my daughter and sent her on her way, kicked her out of the nest. She's off. She's done. She's gone. She's a Texan now. And when I was down there, I bought a new cowboy hat. And the funny thing is, I got that cowboy hat at the exact same store. Remember my first cowboy hat? Well, see, if you don't watch my other channel, you don't know it. But I used to wear my cowboy hat, even when I went around Disney World and stuff, because it was great. Kept the sun off, because I burn like crazy, as you can imagine. And I bought this cowboy hat, and then it got smushed. And I continued to wear it for about 4 years. And when I was at Dealey Plaza, I actually bought this cowboy hat from a store, a Great Western store. It's about 2 blocks from Dealey Plaza. And I went back, and they had the exact same hat. It's a Stetson, a straw Stetson. They had the exact same hat, and I bought the duplicate hat. And that was great. I just thought that was fantastic. I could have the exact. So I got a new cowboy hat. So, Have you ever driven for Postmates or DoorDash? I sometimes do it if I don't want to deal with people. I'm thinking about it. I'm actually thinking about DoorDash. That might be interesting. I do Uber Eats, and I might. Noisy little calendars. I have no idea what you're talking about. That you just lost me with noisy calendars. But I think we're going to be pretty soon calling it a night. Let's wait till we get to an even hour. We've been at this for 55 minutes, so we'll wait till we hit an even hour, and then we'll. Hey, where is Ramon tonight? He usually joins us. He's a pretty loyal live streamer. Instacart is so much better, and they tip better. So, boy, what did you guys think about that incident out of Nevada? I thought it was distressing, and I got scolded, by a few people. I got dressed down a bit because they're saying I'm assuming this guy's guilty. I never said the guy was guilty at all. I am a firm believer that justice has to run its course, but I also know that you don't get arrested without some kind of evidence, right? Anyone tried Go Puff? No, that sounds like a thing that would deliver marijuana. So, what about cargo? Is that still active? The cargo where you would put the food items, the candy and mints and water and stuff on your console, and then people would purchase it through the app. I haven't heard anything from cargo in a long, long time. For a while there, I was getting. I thought I was getting money, but I don't know if it ever actually went in my account. So, I just thought about that. I got a lot of things saying people signed up and there's $20 here and 20. I don't think I saw a dime one of that ever drop into my account. So you heard of this anymore? Well, maybe we know why I didn't get the money in my account. They took advantage of me. I'm one of those people at it. If I was like in sales, you know what I would do? I would be the one that would get all the sales, and then you'd realize, hey, how come we haven't had any money in the past 3 months? And you'd look at my trunk, and there would be all of the orders and the checks, because it would be the selling and the work that I would enjoy, and the details of getting paid wouldn't mean anything to me. And that's kind of how it is with with this. People always say, oh, you want referrals? Yeah, it's kind of the fun of doing it, not the $10 that you get from it. So. Wasn't there an app before where you can let others rent your car? Yeah, there was. I forget what that's called. Seems really risky to me. I forgot what that one was called. It was almost like you're renting your car out. But yeah, I don't know. Some of that stuff got so far away from rideshare that I didn't really talk about it all that much. Talk about it a little bit. When all that stuff rolled out, we talked about it. Hey, what's going on? Lisa, you're in New York. What happened with Trip? I thought Trip was rolling out in New York. Have you heard anything? I remember about the time that Taha Abbasi quit was kind of the weekend they were going to roll out, and I wonder if that had something to do with it. I haven't talked to him. I guess I can share this now. I knew he had emailed me. Taha had emailed me, so I knew that the announcement was coming. He was going to release that to Facebook. And he told me some things that he asked that I not talk about, so I'm going to respect that. I would like to see if he wanted to be interviewed and come back on the channel. We had a lot of disagreements. We butted heads, Taha and I, because I was so skeptical of the company. And I don't know. Now he quit. And it might be interesting to hear exactly why. But I don't want to jump to conclusions. So with that, we are at 59 minutes and 11 seconds. It's supposed to be New York City, but with all the regulations, I knew it wouldn't. Yeah, I thought it was on Long Island, actually. So if you want the lotto, 300 million, would you still drive for Uber? I would part-time for sure. Enjoy meeting new people. It's a fun part of the job. If I won 300 million, would I drive for Uber? Uber. Uber. Isn't that a vacuum cleaner? Yeah, I drive an Uber. Um, when I drive for Uber, no, no, too much risk. When you're worth that kind of money, it's just too much risk. It doesn't get anybody anywhere. And talking about something that really doesn't exist yet is not getting anyone anywhere. Okay, so who said Dar is running for president? I'll tell you what I think might happen, and this is something that's based on nothing, and I think it would work well on Kevin's channel. But what I think is going to happen is Bob Iger might try to step in and take the Democratic nomination here in Milwaukee. That's what I think might happen. Bob Iger, if you know, was the head of Disney, and he just quit. He quit very unexpectedly recently, and I know Oprah was one of the people I talked to him a year or two ago about, would you ever run for president? And I kind of wonder in the back of my mind, if wouldn't that be an interesting soap opera? So, honestly, Uber is all the rideshare driver needs. Honestly, Uber. Boy, I never saw those two words together. If they could have honestly Uber, I think it would be all we'd ever need. So, am I getting the storm tomorrow? I haven't heard anything about a storm coming my way. No, I don't see it. Let me look up Milwaukee weather, and I can tell you if a storm is coming, but if it is, I haven't heard anything about it. No, doesn't look like it. We've been getting a little snow all day, and then as a matter of fact, as it moves into Thursday's partly cloudy, Friday's sunny, and then it's going to, the temperatures are going up. By Sunday, it's going to be 52 degrees here in Wisconsin. So, nah, we're not going to get any storm that I can see. You're getting one from Canada. Well, you know, you can stop that at the border. You know, get the customs involved, and maybe you can put a stop to that. Personally, I feel many of the Democratic candidates are too old. Biden, Sanders are old. You mean they're older than Bill Clinton is now? Bill Clinton was a pretty young guy when he was president, and they're both older than President Trump. So, good Lord, death in the White House if they're elected. I don't want to talk politics on this channel. I try to stay right down the center when it comes to politics. And I know I do a good job because I hear a lot of people say, well, Mark, you crazy liberal. And I hear other people say, you're such a right winger. And I feel as long as I keep getting comments like that, I know that I'm doing a good job of staying right down the middle. That's where I want to be. I just try to be respectful. Whoever is in the White House, I will refer to them as President, President Obama, President Trump, and I'll be respectful. Beyond that, you're not going to hear me give a lot of political commentary, unless it's cross-board. I'm talking about, I just think that all politicians are a bunch of knuckleheads. I will say that sometimes. Sanders already had a heart attack. Yes, he did. He had a heart attack not too long ago either. I was surprised. I just read that he is 6 feet tall. Can you believe that? You know, he's hunched over like this. He probably is, 5'6", because he's so hunched over all the time. I always try to, there's one thing I do as I get older and I approach my late 30s and heading toward 40, I always try to watch out for my posture. I always try to make sure my shoulders are back, my head's held up, my back is straight, because I don't want to get into that. As you see people get older and they get that hunched look and that slope, and that's not a good look. You got to carry yourself well. So, what's the last great movie you watched on Netflix? I don't watch a lot of movies. I watch a lot of TV shows. Better Call Saul. I'm so disappointed I don't have AMC. And the first two episodes of this season came out. The last movie I watched on Netflix, I still have to finish watching it. The last movie I watched on Netflix was uh, Blue Hawaii with Elvis Presley. Great movie. I didn't finish watching it. I'll watch it tonight before I go to bed. But before that, I don't know. I don't know. What genres do I like? I like The Godfather. I like all those gangster type, going all the way back to when Edward G. Robinson and all those guys used to play the gangsters, and Humphrey Bogart and Jimmy Cagney, all the way up now to The Godfather and the all of the De Niro films. Now I just like Donnie Brasco, anything that's mob related or gangster related. I like. Those are fun movies for me. I like caper films, like the original Ocean's 11, the Sinatra, Dean Martin. I like. Well, I like the new one too. The one with Clooney isn't that bad. Those are the things I like. I once had to drive a hardcore Republican Trump supporter, anti-gay and loves guns. It really made me uncomfortable, but I kept neutral. Uber Eats around 3 years began Lyft. Yeah, I think we got to be careful though that we don't put people in a camp. Saying because you support this, it means you're this. And I think you got to be really, really careful of that. Uber Eats around 3 years ago, Lyft shortly after I got the hang of the work. I just saw a 90s movie called Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman. Yeah, I tried to watch it a couple of times, and it was like, man, it worked better than Sominex. I never got through it, that Outbreak. It stormed here in Ohio today. Started out about lunchtime, went through dinner. I drove to the gym in it. Yeah, you can't let snow stop you, can you? A couple of Trump's team before he was here on the phone, Ryan Pence. I take them to the hood in the airport, wake them up a little funny. I used to see, not so much anymore, I used to see Paul Ryan in the airport quite a bit. And you would think, when he was Speaker of the House, you would think that he would have had a big entourage. He was just there rolling his own bag behind him, heading to I never had him on a plane, but I did have Paul Ryan quite frequently. I used to see him in the Milwaukee airport, that's kind of fun when you see national figures, Other than that, people always say to me, what are all the celebrities? If I have seen celebrities during all my trips, I didn't know it, or I didn't pay attention, or, or they were born after 1932, so I don't know who they are. I had Donald Driver on my plane once. It was right after he won Dancing with the Stars. And I think I told you all, I sat next to Dustin Diamond Screech. I sat next to him on a long flight. We got diverted. We were heading down Florida, got diverted. So the flight was about an hour longer. And I chatted with him for the entire flight. And he was very friendly, very open. People say that he's a jack, but he wasn't. I found him very, very friendly. But other than that, I think I saw Mr. T on my plane once. I'm not sure. It was either him or it was a guy that really looked like him, had the haircut and everything, big guy. But he wasn't in first class, so it made me wonder. Other than that, nah. I don't know. I even got into that. I was 10. I saw The Godfather Part 1 and 2 and Scarface. Scarface that's lower on my list for some reason. It's probably why I like Better Call Saul so much, because it has a gangster element to it, I saw Miley Cyrus in Hollywood. I waved to her thinking she would ignore me, but she smiled the way back. Cool experience. Her music is pretty meh, however. The Truth Warrior, my son, just came up from Orville, Ohio. Yeah, I think, I've never been someone that was agog over celebrities. So what, So they have a job that happens to put them on TV. It's not that big, but it's still kind of fun, nevertheless. It's still fun when you see someone you have that encounter. I agree with you. It's fun. Just wave to someone they wave back. That's what's nice. But I I don't know. I wouldn't stand in line to see him or, get in a big crowd around him. I think that, first of all, I think it's kind of rude. And secondly, wait 10 years. And, they'll probably be selling insurance or something. You can get to him easier. My daughter hangs out with him once in a while. What, with Dustin? Yeah, he was very friendly. Like I said, you try not to. I try not to be influenced by things I hear about people, and I've heard so many things about you guys, and we're still here. Hmm. All right, what else is going on? I'm not going to tell you the story. I can't tell you the story because it's too personal. So I was going to tell you some celebrity encounters, but it involves other members of my family that I don't want to get involved with things. So, all right. Well, we have gone almost 20 minutes past when I said that tells you when we're having fun, and I like talking to you guys because I really do. So, I don't know what's happening to what I didn't know what I'm reading here. So so what we're gonna do is it's time to say good night, and now it's time to say goodbye to all my company. Come on, how do we finish that one? Let's see how you guys know your pop culture. Come on, Lisa, you know. Imagine taking a celebrity somewhere rideshare. They would never take it, but it'd be cool. A lot of them do take it. A lot of them do take it. You would be surprised how many celebrities probably take rideshare, and you just don't even think about it. You don't know it, right? So, all right. So, well, I try to do it more often. I get scolded. People say, I don't want to watch that. That's 78 minutes long. Why would I watch that? So, but I figure the people that stay and watch for 78 minutes are watching it for a reason. And I also try to get through the important stuff. If you ever see a live stream, I do the important stuff in 10 minutes. After I get past whatever the headline is, most of it is just going to be chatter. Or what did she used to always call it on Big Bang? Jibber jabber. It's just going to be jibber jabber. So, all right. Well, we are going to call it a night. I'm going to look for your email with your address if anyone needs to contact me, uberhints@gmail.com. That hasn't changed. And with that, we're going to call it a night. So thanks for joining me, everybody. Thanks for being part of this journey with me. And we'll see you next time.